Hey, everybody. Uh, Thanks for joining us. I know some people aren't around, but we've had a blessed opportunity to be interviewed by the Opportunity NJ, which is what?
It is a 501c4
So
that
it's a
was put together
501c4.
by the business organizations and non-traditional allies to address affordability in New Jersey.
So we get to focus on affordability in New Jersey, and most of the questions that I've been looking at are based on small businesses. How do we make New Jersey affordable, and how do we help? How does the government help small businesses in New Jersey? So, without further ado, we have our question
Vinny Civitillo.
guy.
So can you provide some background on your business?
Absolutely. So Bucco Couture started in 2000. I worked for a lot of companies, big corporate, big box stores, and was made promise after promise after promise. And we all know, as people who work, you get all these promises, and they get broken because politics and business and so on and so forth. And I actually got tired of it because they were more focused on the bottom line dollar than they were focused on the customers that they were serving in their locations. So I wound up leaving and going to work for a smaller company that does the same thing I do. The problem with that is the honesty and integrity didn't match my personality traits. So I actually left there and turned my one bedroom apartment. So I moved my bedroom into my living room and turned my bedroom into my office. And 3 years later, had over 300 clients, which we're very excited about. But the reality is that, and I always try and tell people, I lived and I was born on the streets. I was born and raised in foster care, moved out on my own at 17, and went through the drug scene, almost died, and said, you know what? It's either I become a nothing or become a part of society.
When did you start it?
We started in 2000, and we would basically, uh, our business was built out of the back of our cars, going to our clients, um, and selling clients their clothes in their office.
So describe your clientele, your sales force, product, and the area that you operate in.
So my clientele are any businessman, CEO who wear a suit on a constant basis, and are tired of going to the stores. They're tired of getting uneducated, buying what's off the rack, ill-fitting garments. They don't have time, and they want somebody to take care of them the way they take care of their people in their business. Sorry about that. So the joy about what we do is we get to go to our clients, home or office, and it's about 3 years now. We launched our mobile boutique, which is actually a men's store on wheels that we have accessories all the way through custom clothing on the truck. And the person doesn't have to go to shopping at the store. So we touch a little bit on everything, and we get to educate our client. As far as our sales force, we have our head designer who is in Long Island. We have a sales rep in Atlanta, and I cover New Jersey. We're trying to grow, like anybody else, but trying to find people who actually want to go out and earn a living nowadays is not easy.
So did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
I didn't know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Again, growing up in foster care, working for companies, um, I thought I was going to work for somebody all my life, and it came to a point where, like I said, I worked for these big companies. They didn't possess the qualities that I felt were important. So I quit. I went to work for a smaller company, and I said, you know what? In 2000, it's my opportunity to live the American dream. So I'll say that since probably 2000, I've wanted to become an entrepreneur. Uh, Throughout the years, entrepreneurship, man, it's a blessing. I get to fire myself on a Friday and rehire myself Monday
Very cool.
morning.
So what plans do you have to further grow your business?
So we are very excited. Uh, right now we have three divisions in our company. We wholesale suits to our competitors. We also have a software solution that we're the only ones that have a software solution in our industry to support my competition. And we have the retail division. 3 years ago, I launched the mobile boutique, and we are now in the process of starting a GoFundMe campaign. We're applying for the Shark Tank for the fourth time. We keep getting to the second round, which we're excited about, right? Keep getting to the second round, but we're using the GoFundMe campaign to build a marketing strategy for the Shark Tank, and we're actually going to write a book. So I'm going to be able to tell a little bit about the biography to help people who want to be entrepreneurs, and we're going to teach them how to dress and so on and so forth in this book. But the biggest goal is to set up the marketing plan for our interview with the Shark Tank, and hopefully get a deal from the sharks, man.
Very cool. So recently, the state has discussed a number of policy positions that would have an impact on businesses. What are your thoughts on government regulation on business?
Look, the government, it's a necessity. The regulations that they're putting on small businesses truly hinder the growth of any small business. I've been trying to grow for 2 years. I've been speaking and reaching out to senators and Congress and many people. I had a plan to open up a tailoring school, which in a matter of a year could put 250 people back to work. Also, I wanted to approach them about opening up a factory so we can make our custom suits back in the United States again and no longer depend on overseas and give our people a life. So it's been very difficult because it's, again, in one ear, out the other. But what bothered me the most is that in speaking to Ohio and people in Ohio, they wanted to roll out the red carpet and say, what do you need? We love the concept. We want to fix an issue of making things back in America. That's one part of the hindrance. Also, the small business. I've been trying to get a small business loan for probably about a year and a half now, and it's like jumping through hoops. The banks are no longer supporting small businesses, and years ago, you were able to. They would support small businesses. Now, to try and get money to grow your business in New Jersey is very difficult because of the regulations that are put on the banks. They don't want to free up any money. Do we talk about health and regulations? I'm sure we'll get to that a few more questions down the road.
Sure. So, one issue that's been discussed a lot recently is the increase in the minimum wage. What implications would a $15 minimum wage have had on your business?
That's a great question for any small businessman, and I'm going to tell you why. As a small businessman, if I pay somebody $15 an hour, that's an outlay without any money coming in the door yet to pay that salary. At $15 an hour, if your $15 an hour person is not generating revenue, it's a loss. So that $15 an hour employee has got to generate $60 to $80 an hour to justify their position in the company. I used to pay salespeople, and basically it almost bankrupted my company because we're paying salaries and we're not getting any production. So give you a prime example. I went to a store and I bought my groceries. I'm at the register and I'm paying the person, and I give him a $100 bill, and I said, oh wait, I have the change in my pocket. He already put in the $100 bill. I gave him the change, and he stood there, looked at me blind, that he couldn't figure out what change he had to give me. That's a major problem. How do you pay somebody justifiably $15 an hour when they can't even count change? How do you pay somebody $15 an hour when they're not generating revenue? Or I'll pay you the $15 an hour, but do your job. And people think that $15 an hour isn't a lot of money. I want to pay people. Unfortunately, you can't pay them if they're not producing. And that's one of the biggest problems. If you deserve $15 an hour, yes, you deserve it and you should get paid for it. But it can really put a major hindrance on a company's profitability.
So we do hear a lot about government being too involved in people's lives, but we also hear about how government programs have assisted many companies looking to relocate and how government incentives can be great for a business. What could the state have done better to assist you in your business growth?
Fix the Small Business Administration. Focus on listening, change the mindset. Government needs to change its mindset from government to business, a business mindset. And you see that now with the new president in place. They need to listen to the small businessman. And don't get me wrong, some of the things that they've done are great, but as an example, a small businessman trying to get an SBA loan, they should not have to spend 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, in hopes 60 days later to either hear that they're going to possibly give it to them or that they're not. Anytime you take a small businessman a loan to jump through red tape to try and get an SBA loan to grow their business, the small business owner is actually hurting themselves. So that's one of the things that they need to change, and they need to find a way to, hey, listen, as a small businessman, why can't we get the health benefits that state employees get? I'm paying $1,000 a month for health insurance. How does a small businessman pay that? Own a home? Can't do it.
Do you think New Jersey has an affordability problem?
Yes, it does. It really does. When you're a small businessman, you have to be fiscally responsible about your bottom line. You got to watch how you spend your money. You got to budget. If you gross, let's say you gross 500,000, that doesn't mean that you can spend 500,000. The taxes are very high. People can't afford to own a home, so they move out. Businesses, actually, if you look at some of the businesses are starting to move south and west because they simply can't afford the tax ratio that is here in New Jersey. Like I said before, Ohio opened up the red carpet. They're like, oh, well, we love the concept. It will cost you less, and you'll be able to find all the employees that you need, and you'll be able to educate people, and we'll be able to give them a job. We love the idea. So for a guy like me who's trying to make the American dream and manufacture clothes back in the U.S., how do you say no to Ohio, who keeps calling you, and New Jersey, you got to just keep fighting. We don't have the time to fight.
So as a business owner in New Jersey, you've probably had to deal with a lot of levels of government. What was the experience like working with any of the levels of government, and what were some of the challenges when did the agencies get things right?
So you got to give a plug to the governor now. Anytime you go into a government facility or deal with a government agency, your stress level is already through the roof. So walking through that door, you don't want to hear, you didn't make an appointment, don't come back, and you try and ask a question and they shut you down. If one of my salespeople ever did that, they'd be fired immediately, right? So I'm trying to remember the question as we go along. But motor vehicles has actually changed. They're polite. They try and get you through the line. They have people to assist you. Other government agencies that I've been through into last year, it's like the customer service is disgusting. It's horrible. The way they handle things and the way you make your process, you do what you're supposed to do. They don't do what you're supposed to do, so you're penalized. I think government officials should not have the ability to not get fired if they make major mistakes and they don't do their job. That's number one. Number two is they need to be trained and they need to be reprimanded immediately. And again, like government, it's jumping through hoops to get to the right person to make those things happen. Fix the SBA, fix the healthcare. That's what they can do. These government agencies can do to take the hindrance off of small businesses and the American and the people who live in New Jersey.
So which processes, procedures, taxes would you say hinder your business the most?
Every one of them. I mean, come on. Who wants to pay taxes? But I don't mind paying taxes. I don't mind paying my fair share. Don't spend it foolishly, right? Invest back into, take those taxes and invest back. Look, by the time we're done paying taxes in New Jersey, we're probably almost at 30% tax rate after you spend taxes, sales tax, anything you pay taxes on, right? By the time you're done, you're probably at a close to 30% rate. If you're making $50,000 a year, that's $15,000 off of your income. Are you affordable in New Jersey? I wouldn't say you are.
So as you look back on the past 6 years, as a business owner, would you say that New Jersey economy has improved overall?
Good question. And I'm going to answer that in a little bit of depth. In 2008, my company almost went bankrupt because I lost half of my clientele. So I actually had to go work for a company. I became a head tailor in a company, or I became the head tailor of operations in a company. And so I'd leave for work at 6 o'clock in the morning, get home at 8, and work on Bucco Couture until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I had to do this for over a year to save my business as an entrepreneur. We shouldn't have to do that. So rebuilding and rebranding, I took a gamble. I quit my job, and I gambled, and I made an investment into back into Bucco Couture. I took all my savings and started the mobile boutique, which I'm very excited about. So for a bunch of years, it has been a struggle for every small businessman, and we haven't had any help. Going forward, the last couple years, I've seen some uplift, people getting back into the workforce. You know, a lot of my clients starting to make money again, but I didn't feel the immediate growth until after November. And I think it goes back to government having a business mindset that my company now is starting to feel a flourish. Guys are worried about how they dress. They know it's their frontline marketing. They're starting to feel comfortable again, as whether you're a small business or corporate, because I sell 90% of my clients are small business. And I ask them all the time, you know, how do you feel? And you can feel the sense of comfort into where the economy is starting to head, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So as the economy improves, do you see New Jersey becoming more affordable for business owners and residents alike?
No. Business, the joy about business is it can increase, but it doesn't mean that you're still spending the money that you shouldn't be spending. New Jersey needs to stop spending $10 on a nail and spend $2 on a nail, right? We need to stop spending money foolishly. You know, entitlements are great, but I believe entitlements are earned, right? If you go and you work for somebody, you earn and you get rewarded for that. Start giving somebody entitlements to the small businessman. Let them invest into New Jersey. Give them the ability to help New Jersey become more affordable. Lower the tax rates. Listen, you got to do something about healthcare. We simply cannot afford to get healthcare as small businessmen without dipping into our profits that pay our daily lifestyle. You got to do something. Do something about small businesses to get a loan so they can hire people and give people. Give me the opportunity to start a tailoring school where I can put 250 people back to work in the state of New Jersey. Not only that, but aside from putting them back to work, they can actually have their own career and they can become a small business person.
So along those lines, if you were able to address the legislature and the governor, what issues would you specifically ask them to solve or address?
Please focus on small business. It's 89.3% of the United States uh, are small business and entrepreneurs. Focus and listen. Stop letting it go in one ear and out the other. Have someone who maybe you just have divisions that somebody can actually have a decent conversation and consult them. That's number one. Number two, do something about the SBA. You can't have a small businessman focus so much time on trying to get an SBA loan, and then all of a sudden, 60 days out, well, we don't know if it fits our model. That needs to be fixed. It needs to be streamlined. You can't take a small businessman out of his daily routine to just focus on getting an SBA. So what happens is us as small businessmen, I've been focusing on trying to get an SBA. I said, you know what? Forget about it. I'll fund it myself. I fund my whole business on my credit. But we pay a high interest for that. So it hurts my business, but I'm okay with that. Until the government comes up and wakes up and has a business mindset and says, we're going to help these small businesses with the SBA and figure out a solution and step into every small business and do what you guys are doing. You're interviewing small businessmen to get a resolution, to make New Jersey affordable again, to put people back to work, to become an entrepreneur. And lastly, do something about the health insurance. Why can't we get state benefits, the benefits that the state and government pays? Help us out. Take some of that burden off of the small businessman so they could take that. I'd love to take that money and invest that money into a salesperson. But I can't. I have to worry about my health. Social Security. I pay into Social Security. If technically I lose my job tomorrow, I can't collect Social Security. Come on. You are not doing anything for the people that are small businessmen in this state. You're not doing anything for them to say it's a glorified way to become a small businessman, an entrepreneur in the state of New Jersey, where they can simply afford to become successful.
So how important is it to you that Trenton politicians and decision makers hear your story?
Well, here's what I'd like to. It's very important. and here's another reason why. Again, I was born and raised pretty much on the streets, created the person that I am today. I want to share that with people. And I want to let people know that, you create your own destiny. There is nothing holding you back. The foster care system didn't do the right thing by me. They just kind of dropped me off after I turned 17 and I moved out on my own. We want to start an organization for foster kids and orphans to actually help fund a foster child or an orphan in their business. So we want to kind of bring them together and get a resume and actually help fund the beginning of their business, and the organization helps run their business with them. You need to do these things. So, and repeat the question one more time so I can get to the end of it.
So how,
like that, huh?
yeah, no problem. So how important is it to you that Trenton politicians and decision makers hear your story? And while we're at it, while we're repeating the question, maybe if there's some advice you have for them, as they move to improve the state, what would it be?
So I've been in politics for a long time. I helped politicians. I was on a school board. I just listen, stop taking the phone call and say, okay, we'll get back to you. Okay, somebody will get back to you. I'll give you a prime example. I have an open platform, the Man of Style show, which airs on Tuesday nights, the Man of Style. I gave the opportunity to Mr. Murphy, Lieutenant Guadano, and a couple other people that are running for governor. And the reason why I gave them the platform to come on our talk show is my people want to hear about small businesses and what you're doing to help small businesses grow so they can make an educated decision. And again, like anything in politics, it's jumping through hoops. You hear, you don't hear, you hear, you don't hear, you hear, you don't hear. So you get to the point where you're like, you know what? Just like anything else, when us as individuals or small business people want to deal with the government, we just get fed up and we're like, you know what? ABC, you wouldn't want to be it. We just don't bother. So do yourself a favor if you're a politician. Um, to me, you're here for the people, to help the people, to move New Jersey forward and give us an opportunity to grow in New Jersey. So hear us, follow up with us, or if you have to, hire somebody. The money's there. Hire somebody to be our advocate and focus on what our needs are.
Sure. So one last question. So what advice do you have for small businesses and entrepreneurs in New Jersey?
Lots of advice. So many. I love this question because so many of my, my friends who are small businessmen come to me and they're like, "What are you doing that makes you successful? How do you get successful?" I tell every small business minded friend or someone who approaches me, focus on building your business, get away from administration. The government will inevitably soon step up to the plate and help us become even more successful. Uh, Stay the course. And when a lot of times when when I see my business falling backwards, I open up and I go back to the basics of what made me successful to get back to that point. Be careful with your marketing efforts. Marketing can be, as Mark Cuban would say, because I'm trying to get on the Shark Tank. Don't forget our GoFundMe account, which will be coming up soon. But marketing can be a black hole. So you have to know how to. Don't let a marketing company sell you. You sell them. You know, and don't be afraid to go and try and get funding for your small business, but stay away from the what I call hard money lenders. The problem with hard money lenders is they're great they suit a purpose if you're turning money into profit within 60 days, but if you're not, most small businesses net profit is 15 to 20%, and these companies are getting 15 to 20%. So how do you become profitable when you're taking all your profits and paying them out to borrow money that you feel you need? Just cut back a little bit like the government should do, right? Cut back on our spending and spend money where it should be spent. And you'll be successful. And guess what? The government can be successful as well.
Well, thank you for taking the time out.
No, listen, we appreciate it. We thank you for the opportunity. And guys, thank you for tuning in and taking the time with us. And we will see you Tuesday night, 8 o'clock sharp. We have a great guest, and a coach and a lawyer coming on. So please don't forget to tune in Tuesday night, 8 p.m. We'll see you then.